As the year comes to an end, the list of mobsters only begins. However, for this mobster of the month, we decided to save one of the best for last. Al Capone ended up dropping out of school at the young age of 14. This was after an unfortunate event where he was expelled for punching a female teacher in the face. After dropping out of school, he picked up a few jobs around the city, which included working in a bowling alley and a local candy store. And it was during this period of his life where he met Johnny Torrio, who would prove to be his guide and mentor for many years of his life. Working with Torrio was one of the wisest moves Al Capone made, and over time, he grew in stature. In May 1924, Dean O'Banion, part of the North Side Gang, discovered that one of his breweries was going to be raided by the feds and sold his share to Johnny Torrio without Torrio knowing why O'Banion had done so. Ultimately, after the raid of the brewery, O'Banion and Torrio were arrested by the feds. What happened next would spark a gang war as Torrio wanted O'Banion to pay the price and had him killed on October 10, 1924. After this move by the Chicago outfit, the North Side Gang retaliated, and Johnny Torrio was severely injured by gunfire in a 1925 attack. This gave Torrio a wake-up call, and he decided to hand over his entire empire to Al Capone and retreat to Italy. A lot of people suspected Al Capone to be behind this attack in order to take over the outfit, where others thought it was a North Side retaliation attack. After some time in power, and with his celebrity status growing in Chicago, Capone was on the hit list of rival gang members Jaime Weiss and Bugs Moran, who were also part of the North Side Gang. On numerous occasions, Al Capone's car was shot at, but the closest was on September 20, 1926, when Capone's entourage was fired at with Thompson submachine guns. His bodyguard managed to get Al Capone down to the ground, but a number of bystanders were hurt from flying glass and bullet fragments from the car. In the shooting, a young boy and his mother were injured. The mother could have lost sight in her eyes, but Al Capone stepped up and footed the medical bill for them. There was a nice side to Al Capone. After this event, Al decided it would be best if he had his Cadillac fitted with bulletproof glass to protect him in the future. If you think the car is familiar, then you might have seen President Franklin D. Roosevelt inside of it, as in 1932, the car was seized by Prohibition agents and became the president's limousine. After a truce couldn't be met between Bugs Moran and Al Capone, an all-out warfare began, which would outrage the public with the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. This is where 7 North Side gangsters gunned down by the Chicago outfit gangsters dressed in police occurred. In the late 1920s, Elliot Ness, who worked as a Prohibition agent, began an investigation of Al Capone and his business setting up trying to pin something on him that would stick. Elliot Ness managed to find something out, as in 1931, 2 years after he picked up the case, Al Capone was indicted for income tax evasion and various violations of the Volstead Act. Being Al Capone, and like many gangsters, he attempted to bribe and intimidate jurors, but this was discovered by Ness's men. The jury was then switched with one from another case, and Capone was found guilty of 5 counts of tax evasion and failing to file tax returns. Many people close to Al Capone had commented on how he went to jail, a stocky man, and came out as a frail man who had serious mental health issues. In 1946, some tests were performed on Al Capone, and it was concluded that he had the mental capability of a 12-year-old child. He spent the last years of his life in a Florida mansion, and on January 21st, 1947, he suffered from a stroke, which would all but finish him. Around 4 days later, he suffered from a fatal cardiac arrest, which ended the life of one of the most famous and feared gangsters of the Prohibition era. You're now rocking with the best, NCS Costa Nostra.
Welcome to the sting of Oz.
The search is over. Every series helps bring you a step closer to the life of the mob without dangerous exposure of what went down, plus mobster of the month. Original content if you're searching on a hunt for the who's who or the best dressed guys, the type of guns they use, the fuse and mob wide. We supply everything as soon as you log on to the National Crime Syndicate.com. From John Gotti to Dawn, back to Mustache P, Big Joe, Al Capone, and Maya Lansky. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, cause the code of silence here no longer applies. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned in, cause over here we like to keep this thing moving.